Hey guys, Matt from mattandruss.com. Thank you so much for tuning back in this week. Last week, Russ dominated with Colossians 3:23, memory verse of the week, which is whatever you do, work at it as if working for the Lord and not for men. Talking about the flesh and the spirit, and just an encouraging word from him, and appreciate that a lot. This week, I want to talk about something that's dear to my heart, and it's Romans. It's in Romans 12. Verse 2, the first half of verse 2, it talks about, it says, do not conform any longer to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And man, coming out of school this last week at Lindenwood, for any of you Lindenwood people who are watching, finals week has come to a close and we're heading back to the summer. And I was talking to a friend, and they were telling me how excited they are this year about what's going on in campus and how God's moving, and how going back, they're scared and they're worried about what's to come, going back to old friends and going back to old situations and going back to these people who don't know what's been going on at their school. And I think that we can relate this to really anything in life. No one really knows what goes on in our heart with God except those who we tell and share it with, and those who can see that fruit. And but to encourage you this week, I wanted to talk about just a little bit of what I think about Romans 12:2, and how it talks about do not conform any longer to the patterns of this world. And I think that's important because as a culture, unfortunately, we have created these patterns that we've conformed to. And what I mean by that is we sit in like a lazy river. Have you ever been to a lazy river at Six Flags? They have one. You just take a big raft and you sit on it and you go in circles and you don't do anything. You just move. And you don't know where you're going. You just know that it's going to come back eventually, and that in that circle you're safe. And you conform to that circle and you just get carried by that current. Well, it's kind of like life. And sometimes we just get lazy and we just go in circles and we conform to what's going on around us. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's not so good. And what I think is that we conform to these patterns of the world, and the fact is, God's called us to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. And so I want to encourage you and say this. I'm going to keep it real short this week and just say, sin is sin, and we can get dragged into the pattern of the world in this sin. And let me elaborate. Too often, I feel like we get woven into this pattern. The world, the culture sets up this idea, and we just kind of weave ourselves into it, and then just conform and say, it's okay, I'm fine here, and we don't do anything radical. I'll tell you what, when God came to earth, there was a culture that was set up already. But he came because the culture was skewed already. You see, he came in and he radically changed what was going on with what he did. He didn't conform. He said, this is not right, and this is what needs to happen. And I feel like for us, we aren't to sit back and say, I'm going to conform to this pattern, but move on. So, I was talking to a friend, another friend, and we were talking about they get caught in this sin that he has a problem with lust, and a lot of guys do. And I was talking to him about what goes from him being just this solid guy here, and going over to lusting. In the middle, where is the broken pattern? And we talked about it, and he's like, I'll be fine, and then as the day goes on, my thoughts will start to race, and at the end of the night, I'm lusting. And I'm like, well, what's in the middle that's making that happen? What is the pattern that needs to be broken? And we talked about it for a couple weeks, and just watched his life and how it progressed during the days. And what happened was, in the middle, there was a show that he liked to watch, and it just wasn't very edifying. And it made his mind wander and his thoughts go crazy. And that's what we found was the trigger to him lusting that evening. And so what we said was, okay, well, we'll break the pattern. We won't conform to the pattern anymore. We're going to break the pattern. We're going to get off the lazy river, and we're going to go down another way. We're going to break that pattern, and we're going to renew our mind in the Spirit. And so I challenge you this week, if there's a sin that you're caught in, that you're just like, God, give me a sign. God, tell me what to do. God, show me how to fix this. I encourage you to step back, be still, and know that He's God and that He's there to help. And then just look at your life and say, okay, here's the pattern, and here's what I need to fix along the way. And one big way that you can do that is to renew your mind daily, to get into the Word, to dive into this and say, God, show me where you want to go. If you want to read Romans 12 this week, that's what I'll be studying. And I would love to talk to you about. If you have questions, you can email us at info@mattandruss.com. Something that you come up and say, hey, I really liked this, Matt, or hey, what do you think about this? And if I don't know the answer, I'll get the answer, and I will study the heck out of the answer for you. And we're going to grow this week, and this is what it's about. So I'm going to get off the blog because it's been 6 minutes, but I challenge you that this week not to conform to the patterns of the world, but be transformed in the renewing of your mind. Romans 12, verse 2, the first half, what I just said, that's going to be the verse for this week. And I challenge you to hold on to that tight into your heart. I hope that's encouraging you guys. Follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/MattandRuss, or email us at info@mattandruss.com, and with any questions or comments or concerns. And man, thank you so much for checking it out. Hope that's encouraging you guys. We'll talk to you next week. Peace.